All right, here we go. It is another wonderful morning. It is the morning after my last vacation. I know it's all depressing and having to go back and do the whole work thing. Hopefully, I have a plan to escape this rat race, and hopefully it succeeds. I had to kind of realize the reality of the whole book thing, and basically that it is, I mean, I knew for a while now that books were a niche thing, but like you still think that it's something that could really work for you if you try at it hard enough. But like I've been spending an insane amount of money on advertising and only getting like 3 sales back each time, and they don't even cover like a fraction of the advertising costs that I've been spending. And so because of that, I am getting a little discouraged. I don't think I'll ever stop writing, but I think I do need to realize that like a book is very much so like a commitment, and someone kind of brought that to my attention. I was already aware of it, but I don't know, it helps reinforce things when other people say it, I guess. But like for starters, there isn't a huge crowd of people who read books anymore, but there's an infinite spread of books available for reading, if you will. And so, and like with the advent of independent publishing, like Amazon, things of that nature, we now have a much bigger opportunity for books to come out. And I didn't fact check this person's statistics or anything, but I went to a publishing seminar event thing a couple years ago, and one of the published authors that they had speaking there was talking about how they had there was over 1 million books self-published last year, and so there's at least 1 million authors. Well, I guess it's not necessarily true, but there's 1 million books self-published. That doesn't necessarily mean there's 1 million authors publishing them. That could be like one author publishing several books, and at any rate, there's a lot of competition in the field, and it's not as unique or lucrative as one might think it is. And as such, it is very difficult for a new author to stand out in the world and become well known. I'm kind of tackling the whole process now from like a 2-part formula, in that I am trying to do these videos here on YouTube, which are being met with minimal success, and I'm also trying to get more serious about Compression Man. I feel like, if anything, Compression Man might be my ticket to success here, because it's a cartoon, so there's not a whole lot of barrier to entry, if you will. You just sit down, you watch it, have a little fun. They're not very long, and so I'm thinking that might be the way in which I finally gain some sort of traction, and hopefully it works out in the end. We live in a world of instant gratification, so we always want something and we want it now, and it's hard for us to work towards something, and that's why the biggest part, I think, of like the online success market is like it is a long game. Like you don't get to just find something that works and have it work for you overnight. I have a plan in place for Compression Man. I think it'll be a good plan. I think it'll work out. I think we will have a pretty solid run at things. Compression Man episode 2 comes out this Friday. By the time you all are seeing this, it probably will be well out and on the market now. I did manage to stay decently ahead on uploads, and I need to hold myself to that. Now that vacation's over, I need to get back into being strict on myself with going to the gym after work and doing the stuff that I need to do when I get home. I recorded the 4th chapter of my audiobook, which I need to still edit and then put out to the world. And then I think I just need to keep pushing on that. That is probably a better way to go about writing in this modern age than how I've been doing it, because audiobooks, you can do something else while listening to them, and they are increasingly popular. And it's kind of the same concept of these videos that I make, and that it's just kind of someone talking, and you don't necessarily have to pay attention to the video all that much. Somebody did put up a good point. I watched tons of videos on like how to succeed on YouTube, and this whole low effort content wave, if you will, is kind of relatively new, and or at least the success that it's experienced right now is new. And they're like, but you still need to remember that like YouTube is a video platform, and to put like literally no effort into your video is like, why am I coming to YouTube for this content instead of going to a podcast or whatever you might go for your audio content? And although that makes sense, I think there's probably a good chunk of people out there in the world like myself who don't necessarily listen to podcasts and find it easier to just pop in a YouTube video and listen to it instead of doing a podcast app or whatever. And so it's interesting to me to see what people think. I didn't film hardly anything over this vacation either. I went out one day and got some solid forestation filming, and I haven't been able to go through that footage and see what I got out of it. I did record like 2 videos where I actually like came up with a concept and thought about it and talked about them, but I felt like both of them were kind of weak. I didn't feel like any of them were particularly strong with their subject matter or with they were just weak videos. And so because of that, I don't know that I'll be doing much with those videos. I'll just have to see. One of them I think was really short, and it's tough because like when I get in a conversation, I usually do pretty well, but I was just having a hard time gaining any traction. And it's like I didn't write up a full script, which I almost never do. So it's like, why is it now that I'm sitting down here trying to do this, I'm having all these problems with it? But at any rate, trying to do what I can in order to get things moving along here, and hopefully I can get what I need out of all of these things. That's all I can really say about it. And I keep coming back to it, but it's like I just want my time back. I don't want to have to go and work 8 hours a day if I don't want to. I can do whatever the heck I want. And like me and some friends were having a grand old time while I was off. That felt really good. And now I don't know what's going on. But it's okay, I guess. Hopefully I can keep these friendships going. I'm worried that one of them in particular, like now that I'm back to work and they're going to go back to work, we're just going to fall out of touch with each other, which I don't think that would happen, but I've had enough friendships where that exact thing happened that I don't really know where or what to expect anymore. And part of that's just the human experience. People's priorities change, and you are no longer one of them. So having to accept that sometimes kind of sucks, but I did get some more pictures on my wall though. That's starting to shape up nicely and expand. I went to the other Walgreens in town and bought their picture frames. I went to the first Walgreens, the ones that I normally go to, and their 4x6 frames were still out of stock. I bought them weeks ago. I'm like, great, are they gonna not carry these anymore now that I've dedicated my wall space to these kinds of frames? And luckily the other one in town still had some. There's another Walgreens not too far from where I live that I could go to and try and get some more. Maybe I'll make a trip out of that this weekend. And then from there, I just need to, as significant things happen in my life, take pictures of them and post the pictures where they need to be posted and see what happens. I'm hoping that good things will continue to come into fruition, and like I said, all we can do is try. I look at somebody like Joel Haver. I really think the world of his content, and he makes a lot of he makes a decent salary on Patreon, and so I'm hoping that I can jump on the Patreon wagon and get some traction there too. We'll just see. We'll see where the world takes us, what's going on, and like going back to Joel Haver, he's a huge it's YouTube especially inspiration of mine, and he did a lot of like animated projects that got really popular. And there's a original animator that YouTube keeps advertising to me on my Compression Man channel, and they get like 3.9 million views and stuff. And I was like, okay, so it's like there's something to be said about this. And like the animation channel that they suggested to me is an original IP, because like a lot of people go with spoofs. And I don't want to say that like spoofing is a lesser form of comedy, but the world right now revolves around pre-established IPs. And if you can find an IP that the world loves and wants to deal with, then acquire it and do something with it. But as far as originality is concerned, I feel like we're at a shortage of originality. And I get it, because they're doing what I'm doing right now, which is starting from zero and trying to build up an audience. Whereas if you are pre-established or using an IP that's pre-established, you already have an audience. You don't have to do the legwork that's required to get your audience going. And so because of that, it's a lot less work. And so, but I am going for the satisfaction of being able to have that audience and building that audience and creating my own content. And like, I dream about silly things quite often, and I think it's important to dream, but I dream about like because like they have Peter Griffin on Fortnite now, and I was like, how funny would it be to see some of my animated characters on Fortnite, or like playing Killer Clowns from Outer Space. That's been a big portion of what I did while I was on vacation, and I look back at that and I'm like, how funny would it be to see an asymmetrical game set in the Compression Man universe, and just cool, fun stuff like that. And like I said, hopefully I can reach a point where I am making good enough money to where I can just do my own thing. And like I said, right now I'm able to do both, and that's good too. Like, the longer you can do both and make decent money doing both, the better off you are. But a lot of people, well, not a lot of people, I was given advice a long time ago, and it kind of stuck with me. And the idea was Don't quit your day job until you absolutely have to. So long as you can balance both work and your extracurricular things, and they're not interfering with each other, you should do just that. And if you start to realize that your work is damaging your ability to do your creative stuff, which is making comparable, if not better or the same money, that's when you decide to hang up your hat. So we'll see what the world has to offer and what it all says. But I am seriously interested in trying to pursue that, and it feels good. I think the COVID scare opened people's eyes to a lot of things. For me, it was the importance of financial independence, and like realistically, I'd like to have like some level of agricultural independence too. Like if I could feed myself and fund myself, I would feel a lot more comfortable in this life. Because like if the infrastructure at hand were to ever fail again, because you could technically say it did during COVID, if the infrastructure at hand ever failed again, like what would I do? And that was like honestly a scary and stressful time, because you're like, if things fall apart, I can't feed myself, I can't this, I can't that, I can't this. And like I said, it just was not the best time. But it opened my eyes to these things and to the importance of the things that I've been striving towards. And it's a little bit rough because I'm making a effort to do things in the entertainment industry, which is ever volatile. One moment you're extremely relevant, and the next moment nobody cares about your content. And so that's another reason why I'm gonna have to really be in a good place before I ever decide to like hang it up officially. But like if I were making what Joel Haver makes, and that's the thing I appreciate about Patreon, is that they have that kind of transparency, because it's inspiring. I'm not comparing notes because I'm nosy. I'm comparing notes because I'm like, wow, like he's doing this, I should be able to do that too. And it's like, if I could make something comparable to what he makes, even half of what he makes, that would be amazing. And not that far off from what I'm making at work right now. So it's a good goal, and hopefully an obtainable one. And like a big thing for me is like making it feel like it's part of a community. Like that has always, in my opinion, been the advantage of the internet and of the social media structure, if you will, is the feeling of community. You feel like you're a part of these people's lives and of these creators' creations, more so than you ever have or ever will be otherwise. And so I hope to really capitalize on that, really make people feel like they are a part of the product. And like, it's easier to do when you have less people involved. The more people who get involved, the more difficult that becomes. But it's still very much so doable. So we'll see what happens, where things shake, where things fall. But I ultimately think that it'll be good in the long run, and I think that I'll be much happier when everything is falling into place. And I always dream of the day when you can look back at where you were and be like, wow, I was here and now I'm here, and that feels good. And so hopefully you all had a good, fruitful conversation. Welcome back to the working world for me, and we're just going to keep on doing what we do. Thank you for stopping by.